The wolf's eyes burn like molten gold through the reinforced steel bars, tracking every movement with predatory focus. Massive doesn't begin to describe the creature. It's easily twice the size of any wolf that should exist in these mountains, its silver-black coat rippling over muscles that strain against captivity. 3 days since they'd cornered the beast after it terrorized half the county. 3 days of tracking something that moved like smoke through the mountain forests, leaving behind shredded livestock and panic in its wake. Now it growls. It never stops growling. A rumbling threat that vibrates through the concrete walls of Millbrook Sheriff's Station like a bad omen. It's the sound of something wild and desperate, something that wants to tear apart anything that comes too close. Just shoot the damn thing, Jack. Deputy Gibbons wipes sweat from his forehead despite the October chill. It's been 3 days of this. It's going to kill someone. The thing's lips pull back to reveal fangs that could shred a man's throat. Don't stand so close, the sheriff replies. Gibbons is about to protest when the wolf lunges straight for him, making him yelp. Jack's movements are economical, precise as he pulls Gibbons back, the way a man moves when he's learned that wasted motion can mean death. Thing's completely rabid. Deputy Chen mutters, backing toward the exit. Look at those eyes. It wants to rip us apart. Jack's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. When he watches the wolf, his pale green eyes hold the same calculating stillness as the predator he's studying. Rabid animals don't behave like this, he observes. They're confused, disoriented. This one? He pauses as the wolf fixes its burning gaze directly on him. Jack feels the same chill he'd felt facing insurgents in places that didn't exist on maps. This one's calculating, angry but not insane. Jack says this and then he jumps back. Because the wolf has hurled itself against the door again with such violence it sounds like the hinges might give. That's it, the sheriff snaps. Everyone out, now. They file quickly into the main office area, the wolf's thunderous impacts following them like drumbeats. Look, Jack, Chen says, I get that you know animals better than anyone, but this thing is beyond reasoning with. It knocked Henderson down during its capture. But it didn't bite him, Jack interrupts as they gather around the central desk. So what? Gibbons groans. It did claw his jacket to ribbons. That's something, ain't it? Jack rolls his eyes. Not the point, he explains. When a wolf attacks, it bites first, always. It's their primary weapon. Chen and Gibbons exchange confused looks. What are you saying? I'm saying this one is in a feral state. Extremely aggressive, and yet it didn't bite. Jack explains. And that's strange. Abnormal, even. Gibbons scratches his head and opens his mouth before suddenly stopping mid-thought to ask, Wait a minute, what is this kid doing here? They all turn to look at the child, who's bent over her coloring book with intense concentration. She's all sharp elbows and knobby knees, drowning in an oversized sweater that hangs off her narrow shoulders like a hand-me-down tent. Her sneakers, clearly too big for her feet, dangle inches above the floor from where she sits in the adult-sized booth. She's been here since this morning, says Margaret, the station receptionist, not looking up from her paperwork. Really? Gibbons asks, incredulous. The child looks like she could be swallowed up by the harsh fluorescent lighting and concrete walls, a fragile splash of color in a place designed for criminals and emergencies. Look, Uncle Jack, she pipes up, brandishing her coloring book. I finished coloring Princess Jasmine. Jack glances over awkwardly at the tiny figure. Good for you, kid, he says before muttering under his breath. Her and her princesses. Gibbons stares at the child, then back at Jack like he's grown a second head. You have a kid? You? The sheriff looks at him with a flat expression in response. It's just... Gibbons hesitates. You don't seem like the fatherly type is all. The kid, Charlie, pretends to go back to her coloring. But in reality, she's listening carefully. From the other side of the station, behind the closed door, she hears the animal growl again. A wolf, apparently. A real wolf. Charlie pauses, her crayon hovering over Princess Jasmine's green pants. The growling continues, but underneath it, she hears something else, a high, whining sound that makes her chest tight. The wolf sounds sad, and Charlie doesn't like sad sounds, so she sets down her crayon. Nobody notices when the small girl slips from her booth and pads silently toward the back of the station. Chapter 1, Charlie. Charlie's sneakers make no sound on the cold concrete as she slips into the holding area. The wolf's growling fills the narrow space like thunder, but she doesn't flinch. She's used to scary noises, Grandma's coughing at night, the social worker's heavy footsteps on the porch. The wolf paces behind the steel bars, massive and silver black. Its amber eyes scan the cage, back and forth, back and forth. "You look sad," Charlie says, sitting cross-legged on the floor. Her voice is small but steady. "Like when I had to leave Grandma's house." The wolf stops pacing and stares at her. Its lips pull back, baring big, sharp teeth. Charlie just tilts her head, studying its face. "Are you sad because you miss your family?" she asks. "I miss mine too. Grandma used to make pancakes on Sundays." The growling softens. Charlie scoots a little closer to the bars, not thinking about danger. "I won't tell anyone you're scared," Charlie whispers. Sometimes grown-ups don't understand about being scared. They just want to fix things real fast. She sits perfectly still, the way she did when Grandma was sick and needed quiet. The wolf circles again, but slower this time. The growling fades to heavy breathing, then nothing at all. Finally, the wolf steps right up to the bars. Its head is huge, bigger than Charlie's whole body. This close, she can see its ears twitch at every sound. "You're really pretty," she says honestly, "like a wolf princess from my storybooks." Charlie lifts her hand slowly. The wolf's eyes follow the movement, watching as her small fingers reach toward the bars. Her hand trembles slightly. "It's okay," she whispers. "Nobody's going to hurt you." Her fingertips touch the cold steel. The wolf watches, gaze flicking from her hand to her face and back again. Then, without warning, the wolf moves.
Chapter 2. Jack. Jack studies the incident report spread across his desk for what feels like the 100th time. 3 livestock attacks in 2 weeks, all within a 5-mile radius. Classic wolf MO, except for the part where nothing actually got eaten. "State wildlife officer should be here within the hour," Chen says, hanging up the phone. They want coordinates, photos of the livestock wounds, the whole 9 yards. "And until then?" Gibbons asks, glancing nervously toward the holding area. Jack leans back in his chair. "Until then, we wait. Last thing we need is some trigger-happy mistake that lands us in federal court." The front door chimes, and Jack looks up to see a man entering the station. Tall, well-dressed, probably mid-50s, with the kind of build that suggests he spends serious money staying in shape. Everything about him screams money and authority. His eyes cold, predatory in a way that has nothing to do with business. "Gentlemen," the man says, "I understand you have a wolf situation." It's Gibbons who breaks first, shifting uncomfortably. "You the wildlife officer?" he asks. The man's smile doesn't reach those cold eyes. Jack holds the stare. "Can I see some ID?" For a heartbeat, something flickers across the man's features. Surprise, maybe. Or annoyance that Jack isn't immediately deferring to his obvious authority. "I'd like to see her," he says, smile showing too much teeth. "The wolf." Jack raises an eyebrow, and the visitor's smile drops. "I'm Alistair Jenkins," he announces, letting the name hang in the air like it should mean something. Jack doesn't blink. Gibbons, though, clears his throat, stepping closer. "Boss, this guy owns half the county." "I'm aware," Jack interrupts, still holding Jenkins's stare. "I'd be happy to take her off your hands, officers." The latter cuts in. "I'll even throw in some compensation." "It's not for sale," Jack says calmly. Jenkins chuckles, pulling out a leather checkbook. "How much, Sheriff?" Jack clenches his jaw. "Are you deaf?" he asks. Something dangerous flashes in Jenkins's eyes. "Jack," Chen's voice cuts through the tension like a gunshot. "Where's the kid?" Jack's blood turns to ice. He spins toward Charlie's corner booth, empty except for scattered crayons and an abandoned coloring book. "Charlie!" His voice cracks like a whip as he bolts toward the holding area. Behind him, footsteps thunder on the concrete. But all Jack can think about is his tiny niece alone with that massive, aggressive... The wolf, Gibbons pants. It's not growling anymore. Jack hits the door at a dead run and skids to a stop, his hand halfway to his weapon. Charlie sits in front of the cage, her small arm extended through the bars, fingers reaching toward the wolf's massive head. "Charlie, don't move," Jack breathes, terror freezing his vocal cords. The wolf shifts, muscles coiling like a spring. Jack's hand closes on his sidearm as the massive head pulls back, away from Charlie's reaching fingers. It's going to strike. The wolf lunges forward and gently presses its nose against Charlie's tiny palm. Time stops. The wolf's amber eyes drift shut as Charlie's other hand joins the first, tiny fingers stroking the silver-black fur behind its ears. Its massive body has gone completely still. No tension, no snarling, no trace of the violent aggression that's defined it for 3 days. Jack shivers, not from fear, but from something deeper, something that brushes against the part of him that still dares to believe in the unexplainable. Charlie giggles, the sound soft and golden in the harsh fluorescent light. "Look, Uncle Jack, she likes me." Behind him, Chen's footsteps falter to a stop. "Jesus Christ," the deputy breathes. Jack has seen combat zones. He's watched hardened animals learn trust over months of slow, careful work. But this defies everything he knows. The wolf isn't just calm, it's peaceful. Like Charlie's touch flipped a switch, turned fury to stillness, beast to guardian. "What the hell?" Gibbons mutters from the doorway. Jack can't look away. In 20 years of law enforcement and all his military tours, he's never seen anything like it. Then, "How dare you let a child..." Jenkins' voice slices through the moment like a blade. And everything shatters. The wolf's head jerks up, ears flatten. Its amber gaze locks on Jenkins with a recognition that is almost human and full of pure, murderous hatred. Jack stumbles back. A snarl tears from the wolf's throat, deep, guttural, vibrating through the concrete. Jenkins pushes forward, hand outstretched. "You have no idea what you're dealing with." The wolf explodes into motion. It slams into the bars, steel groaning under the force. The entire cage shakes. Jenkins screams, high and raw, as fangs sink into his arm. Blood spurts, splashing crimson across silver-black fur. "Get him out!" Jack roars, snapping into motion. He lunges forward and scoops Charlie into his arms. Jenkins stumbles back, yanking his mangled hand free. Blood pours from his wrist, spattering the floor in thick red trails.
Chapter 3, The Wolf. The alpha's scent burns in her nostrils like poison, dominant male musk laced with something darker, something that sets every instinct screaming, "Run." The wolf paces her cage, claws scraping concrete, the taste of his blood still metallic on her tongue. Not enough. She should have torn out his throat when she had the chance. But the small one... She stops, nostrils flaring. A lingering trace of sweetness drifts in the air. Pup scent. Clean, innocent. No fear, no aggression. She hasn't smelled anything like it since... No, don't remember. She thinks urgently. Memory is danger. Memory is pain. Stay wolf. Stay strong. The pup's touch had been different, gentle, non-threatening. Nothing like the male's with sharp voices and tense, wrong-smelling bodies. The wolf's lip curls. Then the alpha's voice cuts through the concrete, sharp, commanding, furious. Her hackles rise, her body twitches between cowering and lunging. Years of submission clash with animal instinct. Fight or flight. She can't stay here. She won't. She throws herself against the reinforced door. Metal groans under the first hit, again and again. She'd been careful before, hiding her strength. She had to let them think she was weak. The pack's safety depended on it. But now, desperation overrules everything. Metal screams, the frame gives. The door crashes open and she's free, into the narrow hallway beyond. A surveillance camera blinks in the corner. She leaps, jaws crushing it in a spray of sparks and plastic. Her body shifts, bones snap, muscles liquefy, fur dissolves. The wolf disappears. The human remains. She gasps, exposed in fragile flesh she hates. In this form, pain cuts sharper, fear pierces deeper. But human hands can climb. She grabs the loose air vent near the ceiling, rips it free, and hauls herself into the shaft. It's tight, dusty, rusted, but she pushes through. Then open air. She emerges onto the roof. Below, the parking lot stretches empty and sunlit. She leaps and shifts midair. 4 paws hit the ground with grace. The wolf is back, stronger, sharper. Her senses expand. Instinct mutes the screaming in her chest. The alpha's voice roars behind her. Her tail tucks. She wants to run, wants to vanish into the trees. But he knows her, knows the woods, knows every one of her old tricks. She needs somewhere unexpected. Movement draws her eye. A vehicle, the pup, sitting in the back seat, wide-eyed, staring straight at her. Then the human leader appears. "Stay here, Charlie. I'll be right back." He turns, heading back into the station. The pup remains. The car door opens. Charlie waves her forward, then climbs into the back. A moment later, the trunk clicks open. "Hurry," she whispers. "I won't tell Uncle Jack you're here." Truth. The wolf sniffs, catching only sincerity, determination, kindness. Behind her, the alpha's voice grows louder, closer. Footsteps echo across concrete. The wolf makes her choice. She leaps into the trunk, curls small in the dark. The lid shuts. The engine rumbles to life. And they drive away, from the station, from the alpha. From the cage. Chapter 4. The Wolf. The car turns, gravel crunching beneath its tires, and stops. The wolf stays still, muscles coiled. Silence settles. She tests the trunk latch with her nose. Locked. Panic flickers in her chest. Trapped again. Another cage. No, she reminds herself. The pup chose to help. This is temporary. If she isn't back by sunrise, she'll break out. Minutes later, light footsteps return, soft, careful. The trunk clicks open. Cool evening air washes over her. The pup peers down, eyes bright with excitement. "You can go now," she whispers, glancing toward a modest farmhouse where warm light spills through the windows. "It's safe." The wolf climbs out slowly, alert for danger. Fields stretch in every direction. Trees. Quiet. "Charlie?" calls the male from the house. "Did you find that toy?" "Still looking, Uncle Jack?" the pup calls, then turns back with a conspiratorial grin. "I told him I forgot my doll. Smart, right?" The wolf nods before thinking, an instinctive gesture of understanding, of gratitude. Charlie's eyes go wide. You nodded," she whispers. "Do you understand me?" The wolf freezes. She forces stillness, blank wildness, trying to appear like any other animal. "You understand me, don't you?" Charlie presses. "I saw you nod." The wolf meets her gaze. This small one won't be fooled. "But more than that?" she asked. No one asks. They take. So the wolf dips her head once, deliberate. Charlie squeals. "I knew you were special. I knew it." "Charlie," the male's voice booms again. "Coming?" she calls back. "There's a tool shed behind the house," she adds quickly. pointing toward a small structure near the trees. Uncle Jack never goes there except for the lawnmower. You could hide there tonight. She pulls a half sandwich wrapped in napkins from her pocket. I saved this. Are you hungry? The wolf's stomach clenches. Real food, not garbage scraps or stolen meat. I'll bring you more tomorrow, Charlie promises, setting the sandwich on the ground. The wolf looks from the food to the shed to the girl's hopeful face. Instinct screams, run, get as far from humans as possible. But the alpha's scent is far behind now, and exhaustion drapes over her like lead. She nods, and Charlie's smile could light up the dark. The shed smells of oil, rust, and disuse. The wolf curls onto old drop cloths and sleeps, for the first time in days. No nightmares come. She wakes to sunlight filtering through grime-streaked windows and the soft sound of the door creaking open. Good morning, Charlie whispers. Did you sleep okay? The wolf watches as she sets a plate of food halfway between them, then backs up. I brought you breakfast. Uncle Jack makes really good scrambled eggs. She talks softly while the wolf eats. He used to be a soldier, you know. The wolf pauses, ears twitching at the sadness in her voice. My grandma died, Charlie continues, drawing in the dust. That's why I live with Uncle Jack now. On the second day, Charlie brings books and reads fairy tales aloud, stories of princesses and brave knights, or fables starring animal characters. On the third, she holds out a hand, palm up, and waits. The wolf stares for long minutes, then cautiously brushes it with her nose. By the fifth day, Charlie gently strokes behind her ears. The touch sends shockwaves through the wolf's system. She can't remember the last time someone touched her without hurting her. Her parents had, once, and then the alpha came, and the wolf had no more parents. You're lonely too, aren't you? Charlie whispers on the seventh day, fingers working gently through tangled fur. The wolf closes her eyes, leaning in. She tells herself she'll leave tomorrow, always tomorrow. But every morning, Charlie returns with food and soft chatter. Every evening brings another excuse to stay. It's not just safety, it's Charlie. The pup treats her like she's worthy of care. The wolf hasn't felt kindness in so long, she forgot what it was. For the first time since escaping the alpha, she feels peaceful. Until the afternoon when heavy footsteps approach and the door swings open.
Chapter 5. Jack. Jack follows the sound of Charlie's humming through the trees. She's been sneaking off behind the house every day for a week now, saying she's exploring. It shouldn't bother him, but it does. Not because he doesn't trust her. If anything, she's too well behaved. Polite, quiet, always watching him like she's waiting for the other shoe to drop. Probably because, the day the social worker called, Jack had muttered, I can't take care of a kid right now, thinking Charlie was out of earshot. She hadn't been. Not his proudest moment. And really, who thought this was a good idea? Him raising a child. Kylie's child, no less. His sister, who never mentioned she had a daughter. Jack had spent most of his adult life in places no kid should even hear about. He still woke up screaming sometimes, on the nights he managed to sleep at all. But there was no one else, so he'd said yes. Now he sleeps less, drinks less, for her. And Charlie, in return, asks for nothing. She just smiles, nods, and tries not to be a burden. Which is why her sudden happiness, bouncing at breakfast, humming to herself, has him both relieved and suspicious. Relieved that maybe he isn't screwing this up entirely. Suspicious because who gets that excited about playing alone in a tool shed? He hasn't been out to the shed in months. It's just an old building full of rusted lawn gear and spiders. Not exactly a wonderland. He's about to call out when he hears her voice through the walls. And the little goat said she wanted to go to the mountain, Charlie says in that sing-song tone kids use for storytelling, even though she knew the wolf might eat her there. Jack smiles, but it falters when a low, unmistakable rumble filters through the wood. Not quite a growl, close. He's moving before he realizes it, instincts kicking in. The shed door creaks open, and what he sees inside makes him question everything. Charlie sits cross-legged on the floor, one small hand resting on the massive head of the wolf they've been hunting for over a week. The wolf. The one that attacked Jenkins. It's even larger than he remembered. Twice the size of any natural wolf. Silver-black fur catching the dusty light like metal. "Uncle Jack!" Charlie jumps to her feet. "I can explain!" Step away from it. Now. His voice comes out sharper than intended, and Charlie flinches. The wolf rises, slow and deliberate. A low growl builds in its throat as it moves to place itself between Charlie and him. Christ. While he's been coordinating manhunts and dodging Jenkins' tantrums, the damn thing's been living in his backyard, napping with his niece. "It's okay, Fluffy," Charlie says quickly, hand finding the wolf's ear. "He's not gonna hurt you." To Jack's astonishment, the wolf glances from Charlie to him, measuring. Then, slowly, it lowers its massive head in what can only be described as a bow. Jack stiffens. That's not animal behavior. That's something else. Something intelligent. "She's not dangerous," Charlie pleads. "She listens when I talk to her. She understands everything." Jack studies the wolf's posture, tense but not aggressive, protective, focused. "How long has it been here?" he asks quietly. "A week," Charlie whispers. "She was scared. I told her I'd help." A week. He should be furious, should call for backup, trank the thing before it snaps. Instead, he finds himself asking, "Has it ever threatened you?" Charlie shakes her head fast. "Never. She's a good wolf." Jack runs a hand down his face. If he calls this in, the wolf will panic, and someone will shoot. Charlie will see it happen. He can't let that happen. "It stays in the shed," he says at last. "And you don't come out here without me. Ever." Charlie lights up. "Really?" "I'm not done," Jack growls. "If anyone asks, we've never seen any wolf. Got it?" She nods solemnly. He turns to the wolf. "And we do this my way. You want to stay here? You follow my rules." The next morning, Charlie is giddy at breakfast, chattering about how smart Fluffy is, and how she's sure the wolf already likes him. Jack's not so sure. When they return to the shed, the wolf gives him a glance and promptly turns her back. Not hostile, just disinterested. "She's shy," Charlie says with a shrug. "Shy people need time." Time. Right. Jack settles onto an overturned crate, deliberately turning his back to the wolf, an old K9 trick to show he's not a threat. Duke used to respond to this, back when they were first paired. Show the animal you trust them enough to look away, and eventually they'll return the favor. The wolf doesn't return the favor, unless you count not biting him in the back of the head as a favor, which Jack supposes he can. That night, Jack does something stupid. He returns to the shed alone, carrying a bowl of leftover stew. "Figured you might want real food," he says. The wolf eyes him, then pads over and eats. Delicate. Careful. "You can't stay locked up in here," Jack says. "Wolves need room to run." He opens the shed door wide and sits down again. "Property's fenced. Go on." The wolf pauses, watching him with those gold eyes. And then, silently, smoothly, she slips into the trees. Jack wonders if he's just made the worst mistake of his life. But by dawn, the wolf is back, curled on her blanket like she never left. That becomes their rhythm, nights where she vanishes, mornings where she returns. 3 weeks pass. The wolf begins to relax around him. One evening, as Jack sits with his back turned, he feels the shift in the air that means she's moved. Instead of heading for the door, she settles beside him, her massive form radiating warmth. They sit in comfortable silence, man and wolf, watching the sunset through the open shed door.
Chapter 6. The wolf watches from the shed doorway as the male's vehicle disappears down the dirt road, red and blue lights flashing through the trees. An emergency call, he'd said. Something about a break-in. His scent had been sharp with reluctance as he looked between Charlie and the wolf. "I'll be fine, Uncle Jack," Charlie had promised. "Fluffy will protect me." The wolf had stepped closer to the pup, meeting the male's pale green eyes with steady amber ones. "Trust me with her," she tried to say. "I would die before letting harm come to her." And the male had given a sharp nod, the kind soldiers give one another, not casual, not uncertain. Now Charlie runs barefoot through the grass, laughter trailing behind her like sunlight as she chases butterflies. The wolf follows close, her presence more shadow than threat. "Look, Fluffy!" Charlie calls, scrambling onto the old stone wall at the edge of the yard. "I'm a tightrope walker!" The wolf's ears prick forward in alarm. The stones are crumbling, ancient and unstable. Charlie's foot slips. She cries out, tumbling backward into the flower bed below. The wolf is there in a flash, nosing at her trembling form as sobs bubble up through her chest. Blood wells from her palm. "I'm okay," Charlie hiccups. "It just stings." The wolf whines low. This needs cleaning, bandaging, immediate care. She herds the pup toward the house and into the bathroom. The porcelain gleams, sterile and white. Her nose picks up scents, soap, metal, and something deeply masculine. "Uncle Jack keeps the first aid kit up there," Charlie says, pointing to a high cabinet. The wolf glances at the wound, then the cabinet. Even with a chair, Charlie won't reach it safely. And in that moment, something shifts. Without hesitation, bones crack and twist, fur receding. The wolf becomes woman, pale skin, long blonde hair spilling down her back like moonlight. "Don't move," she rasps. "Let me see your hand." Charlie's mouth drops open, stunned. But the woman moves quickly, retrieving the kit, running warm water over the cut. Her fingers tremble, not from fear, but from the weight of what she's done. She's shown her true form, broken every rule. "You're naked," Charlie blurts. The woman pauses, confused. Her wolf form had no clothes either. Fur was enough. But the girl's face says this is different, important. She finds a flannel robe hanging nearby, thick and soft and smelling of soap and leather, Jack's scent. Strangely, it calms her. She wraps it around herself and returns to Charlie's hand. "You've been very brave," she murmurs. Charlie stares. "You're human?" The words hit hard, the rules, the danger, no one must know. "I'm both," she whispers. "Human and wolf. I'm called a shifter." Charlie tilts her head. "What does that mean?" "It means I can change between forms, and it means you cannot tell anyone." Charlie's expression falters. "Not even Uncle Jack?" Pain slices through her chest. "He is a man," she says tightly. "Men cannot be trusted." Charlie frowns. "But Uncle Jack makes me pancakes. He reads me stories. He's nice." The woman says nothing. The alpha had never made food, never told stories, only gave orders and punishments. Maybe not all males are the same. "Do you have a name?" Charlie asks. A small smile flickers. "I do, and it isn't Fluffy." "What is it?" The formal answer comes instinctively. "I'm Seraphina Isadora Rhiannon of the Stormhaven Pack." Charlie blinks. "So, Sarah?" The name hangs in the air, simple, human. "You may call me Sarah," she says, testing the sound. Her gaze drifts to the bathtub. White porcelain, hot water, a luxury the alpha had denied. "May I use it?" she asks, unsure why she needs permission. But Charlie nods and helps with the knobs, adjusting the flow like it's second nature. The moment is absurd. A wolf-turned woman asking a child for a bath. And yet, she feels something strange and soft unfurl in her chest. Home. Charlie keeps her back turned, voice curious. "Are there others like you?" "Yes." "From your pack?" A flash of memory, cages, fear, the alpha. "With him," she murmurs. with the alpha. "What's an alpha?" Charlie asks gently. Sarah's voice is hollow. "Bad," she says simply. Charlie doesn't argue, just watches the steam curl in the air. Then, "Is that why you're hiding here, because of the bad alpha?" The memories crash in, her parents' bodies, blood on marble. The alpha's voice, "Behave, little princess, or you'll end up like them." "Yes," she whispers, arms curling around herself beneath the warm water. "And because you are my pup now," Sarah adds softly, "I protect you." Charlie turns. "Are we a pack?" Sarah nods. "Can Uncle Jack be in our pack too?" the kid asks, hopeful. Sarah hesitates. The word catches in her throat, but then, "Maybe," she whispers. Chapter 7, Sarah. Sarah's life becomes a warm haze of normality she never thought possible. She transforms more often now, sneaking moments to speak with Charlie while the human male is at work. They develop a routine. Charlie keeps watch while Sarah shifts, always ready to alert her when his truck rumbles up the driveway. Occasionally, stress seeps in, like the night Charlie slips up at dinner. "Her name isn't really Fluffy, Uncle Jack," Charlie says through a mouthful of spaghetti. "It's Sarah." Curled by the kitchen door, Sarah freezes. Her amber eyes flick to Jack, heart pounding. "Sarah?" he repeats, testing the name. His pale green eyes meet hers. That suits her better than Fluffy. From then on, he calls her by her name. And Sarah, to her surprise, doesn't hate hearing it in his voice. She begins to spend more time in the house, watching their strange little family unfold. In the evenings, Charlie curls beside Jack on the couch while colors flicker across the screen. Some show about a man building wild contraptions from scraps. "See how he uses what's around him?" Jack explains. "That's the key to survival, adaptability." Sarah's ears perk, pack wisdom, she approves. The next day he teaches Charlie how to fight. Not seriously, Sarah can tell by their sense, but with intent. "You're small," he says, adjusting Charlie's stance. "So, you need speed, reflexes, use your environment." He shows her how to twist out of a grab, how to duck, how to redirect force. Sarah watches with quiet pride. A proper alpha teaches the pups to protect themselves. "I should have taught you sooner," he murmurs. "If I hadn't left you alone, you wouldn't have gotten hurt." Charlie had lied smoothly about her injury, saying a neighbor helped. Sarah admires the pup's loyalty, even as it worries her. Sarah transforms more comfortably now, starting to enjoy simple human pleasures: hot chocolate, clean hair, warm sunlight on bare skin. She just has to stay careful around the male. Until the night he screams. The sound tears through the darkness, raw, terrified, desperate. Jack. Sarah bolts upright from where she'd been dozing in the shed, instincts surging. Another scream, and she's running. Her paws fly across the yard. She crashes through the back door and bounds up the stairs. She bursts into Jack's room, hackles raised, ready for blood. But Jack is alone. He thrashes in bed, caught in a nightmare. Sweat soaks his hair. His face is twisted with terror. The air reeks of fear and old pain. Sarah's relief is immediate, but a different ache follows. She knows this hell too well. How sleep becomes a battleground, memories rising like claws. She hovers at the foot of the bed, torn. Every instinct urges her to comfort, but fear holds her back. Then Jack cries out again, twisting in the sheets, and Sarah moves. She leaps onto the bed. She freezes again, hovering. He's close, heat radiating from him, hands trembling, body flinching from threats only he can see. I shouldn't. Males don't like to be touched unless they're taking something. Still slowly, carefully, Sarah inches closer. This is different. This is Jack. Her muscles stay tense, ready to flee. But she settles across his chest, light and cautious. His breathing slows, His body eases beneath her. No tension, no pain. He's not the alpha. He won't hurt me for this. Sarah rests her head on his chest. His heartbeat thrums beneath her ear, drowning out old fear. For the first time in years, she leans into someone's warmth. His scent surrounds her. His breathing deepens. She means to leave once he's calm, but something new rises. Exhaustion, not the kind born of vigilance, but of surrender, of safety. Pack, she thinks, eyes drifting closed. Jack's heartbeat is steady beneath her head. His still arm lies close, protective. Just for a few minutes, she tells herself. Morning comes. Pale light filters through the window. Her first sensation is warmth. Not solitude, not isolation. Jack's arm is wrapped around her. He sleeps deeply, breath steady, no nightmares. And Sarah realizes her own dreams were soft, no cages, no alpha. This is what rest feels like, she thinks. And so, the next night, when Jack screams again, Sarah runs without hesitation. No waiting. She leaps straight onto the bed and curls across his chest. She stays until dawn, wakes up cradled like something cherished. The third night, the pattern continues. Jack's nightmares are shorter, milder. He calms the instant her body touches his. Pack behavior, she tells herself. Natural. The fourth night brings silence, and Sarah waits in the shed with growing anxiety. Her ears strain for the sound that's become her signal, her purpose. But Jack's room remains quiet. He doesn't need me tonight, she reasons. That's good. He's healing. But sleep eludes her. Every small sound makes her ears prick forward hopefully. And when exhaustion finally begins to pull at her consciousness, her own demons rise to fill the quiet spaces. She feels the alpha's hands closing around her throat, hears the cage door slamming shut. Sarah jolts awake with a strangled whine, her heart hammering against her ribs. When she arrives in his room, Jack is awake, propped against his pillows with a book in his lap. So I wasn't dreaming, he says quietly. His voice is rough, but full of something like relief. You've been coming here. Sarah freezes, torn between shame and the craving for his presence. You can sleep on the floor if you need to, Jack offers, gesturing beside the bed. His tone is soft, safe, no pressure. Sarah curls up on the rug, but the floor feels too far away, too cold. Her body won't settle, her mind won't stop racing. After several restless minutes, she gives in to need and leaps onto the bed. This time there's no hesitation, no careful positioning. She settles against Jack's side like she belongs there. He closes his book and reaches to turn off the lamp. Bad dreams? He asks quietly. Sarah presses closer to his warmth, and Jack's hand settles gently on her head, not grabbing or controlling, just there, present and comforting. When sleep takes him, his arm finds her again with the automaticity of habit, and Sarah breathes in the mingled scent of them both on his sheets. Chapter 8, Sarah. Afternoon sunlight spills through the kitchen windows, striping the table in warm gold. Sarah sits at it in human form, wearing one of Jack's flannel shirts, sleeves rolled up several times, and a pair of Charlie's pajama pants that barely reach her ankles. Across from her, Charlie watches with bright, curious eyes, chin propped on her hands. So, she asks, swinging her legs beneath the table, have you accepted Uncle Jack as part of our pack now? Sarah pauses mid-bite of the apple. Why do you ask that? Charlie grins and points. You're wearing his shirt again. I don't have clothes of my own, Sarah says, nose lifting primly. Yeah, but... Charlie's grin widens. You keep smelling it when you think I'm not looking. Heat rushes to Sarah's cheeks. She grabs a small pillow from the bench and tosses it at Charlie, who catches it with a giggle. Fine. Sarah looks down, suddenly shy in a way she never is as a wolf. Jack is my mate, she says softly. Charlie's eyes go wide. Your mate? What does that mean? It means... Sarah hesitates, then gently touches the collar of Jack's shirt, breathing in his scent. That our scents are all over each other now. We sleep curled together, because real mates always share body heat. That's how you know you belong. Wow, Charlie giggles. Like cuddling? Like he lets me into his den and into his bed. Sarah lowers her voice, reverent. That's sacred. A wolf doesn't just let anyone in, only mates. Charlie leans in, entranced. What else? He brings me food, Sarah says. Even when he eats something else. He even gave me his chicken once. Charlie's eyes widen at the intensity in her voice. And no one else smells right, Sarah finishes, softer now. So that's it. We're mates. Charlie claps. So you're dating? Sarah frowns. No, dating is temporary. Wolves mate for life. Charlie squeals, bouncing in her chair. That's like being married forever and ever. Sarah smiles, but it fades when Charlie suddenly stops. Wait, what did Uncle Jack say when you told him you were human? Sarah's smile vanishes. I didn't tell him yet, she whispers. Charlie gasps. Sarah, you have to tell him, otherwise he's not going to know you're his wife. Mate, Sarah corrects primly. And how would he not know? We've been courting for weeks now. Charlie rolls her eyes. You've been courting the wolf way. Uncle Jack is human. He doesn't know. Anxiety flutters in Sarah's chest. She hadn't thought of that. You really think he doesn't know we're mates? She asks. What if he rejects me when I show him my human self? He won't, Charlie says with childlike certainty. You're too pretty. Sarah twists the hem of Jack's shirt in her fingers. That evening, dinner is simple. Charlie chatters happily while Sarah sits in wolf form beside Jack's chair, accepting morsels from his fingers. Good girl, Jack murmurs, scratching behind her ears as she takes a piece of chicken. Sarah leans into his touch, eyes half closed. His scent, his voice, his hand. This is how it's supposed to be. Uncle Jack, Charlie says suddenly, setting down her fork. Did you know that Sarah thinks you're her mate? Sarah freezes, nearly choking on her chicken. Jack laughs, hand pausing on her head. What? It's true, Charlie insists. I read about wolves in my school book. They choose mates and stay together forever. I think you're confusing wolves with swans, kiddo, Jack chuckles. No, wolves mate for life too, and you do all the mate things. You sleep together, you feed her special food, you let her in your room, and you talk to her all the time. Jack's laughter fades. Plus, your smells are all mixed up now. She can smell you on her, and you smell like her too. That's what wolves do when they're mated. Sarah's heart pounds. She glances up at Jack, searching his expression. He's gone quiet, the sharp tang of surprise rising off him. He didn't know, she realizes. Of course not. He's human. Is that right? Jack finally says, looking down at her. Have I been accidentally married to a wolf this whole time? Charlie nods enthusiastically. That's what my book said. Jack's hand returns to Sarah's head, his touch thoughtful. Well, he says, I guess that's not so bad. I was starting to think I'd grow old alone. He scratches behind her ears again. Guess we're stuck with each other, huh, Sarah? Relief crashes through her. He's accepted her. Her mate has accepted her. But something tugs at her mind. This isn't complete. A true bond requires more. To claim him properly, they must bind themselves with words, because biting him would kill him. Later, after Charlie's gone to bed, Sarah pads into the living room. Jack sits on the couch, beer in one hand, remote in the other. A crime drama flickers on the screen, volume low. She hesitates, then leaps up beside him. He's acknowledged their bond. This is allowed. Whoa, hey, Jack says, half laughing as she settles against his side. There are rules about dogs on furniture, you know. Sarah growls. There are rules about wolves on furniture. My apologies. She presses closer, nose seeking the spot under his jaw. She rubs against him, marking him more thoroughly than ever. What are you? Jack starts, then sighs. I'm being scent marked, huh? Charlie and her wolf facts. His hand strokes down her back. She melts into the touch. You're something else, he murmurs, voice warm, not like any wolf I've ever known. He shifts, adjusting her into a more comfortable position, his arm around her. I had a partner once, he says after a long silence. Not like you think, he adds quickly when Sarah growls. Duke was a Belgian Malinois, military working dog, best damn partner I ever had. Sarah lifts her head. His scent has changed, grief overlaying warmth. We served overseas, clearing buildings, hunting explosives. He saved my life more times than I can count. His fingers move absently through her fur. One day we got a tip. Abandoned school, possible weapons cache, standard op. Duke was sweeping the perimeter when he alerted. I called it in, started pulling back. Jack's heart races, his scent sharpens, guilt and sorrow. There was a secondary device, meant for bomb techs. Duke took the blast. Last thing I remember is him shoving me back. Then, nothing. I woke up in a field hospital 3 days later. They told me he didn't make it. Sarah whines, pressing closer. I left him, Jack whispers. I know I was unconscious. I know they had to evac me, but I left him, my partner, and I'll never forgive myself for that. The pain in his voice crushes her. She knows this grief, the ache of losing Pack, the guilt of surviving. Am I crazy, talking to a wolf like this? Jack laughs hollowly. I don't think I am, he adds, meeting her gaze. Sometimes I think you understand more than most people. Sarah lifts her head, trying to show him that she does. Then it hits her. Her pack. In her flight, in her weeks of healing, she pushed them aside. But they're still out there, still under the Alpha's control, still suffering. She let herself believe escape was enough, but it wasn't. The Alpha used her love for them to control her, and she let it happen. I abandoned them, she realizes, horror tightening in her chest. I'll never recover from it, Jack says quietly, leaving him behind. It's not something you get over. The words cut deep. Sarah's pack, her wolves. While she found comfort and love, they've remained in the dark. Chapter 9, Sarah. The television flickers with muted colors, casting shifting shadows across Jack's sleeping face. His chest rises and falls steadily, one arm draped over Sarah's back. The empty beer bottles on the table explain his unusually deep slumber. Sarah watches him, the lashes resting against his cheeks, the stubborn furrow between his brows that never quite fades, even in sleep. The scent of guilt clings to him, sour and sharp beneath his usual warm, woody scent. It's not performative, not like the Alpha's false grief. This is real pain, the kind that lingers. She understands now. Carefully, Sarah slides out from under his arm. The Alpha is still hunting her. He won't stop. It's not in his nature to let go of what he thinks is his. Eventually, he'll find her here, with Jack, with Charlie. The thought of the Alpha touching either of them sends ice through her veins. Sarah moves quietly up the stairs, pausing outside Charlie's room. The child sleeps peacefully, bathed in the glow of a crescent moon nightlight, surrounded by stuffed animals like tiny guards. Her hair spills over the pillow in tangled waves. Inside, Sarah shifts, bones cracking as her form changes. She stands human again, feeling raw without fur, but needing hands for what comes next. On Charlie's desk, she finds paper and a pencil. Her fingers are stiff, clumsy. It's been years. Still, the letters come back. Dear Charlie, I have to go away for a while. There are wolves who need me, my pack. She pauses, heart aching. I hope to come back to you and Jack someday. But if I don't, know that I love you both. You showed me what family really means. Her hand trembles. Don't tell Jack about me, not unless I return. I want him to remember me as Sarah, not as someone who lied. Folding the letter, she slips it beneath Charlie's pillow and kisses her forehead. Be brave, little pup, she whispers. Take care of him for me. Charlie stirs but doesn't wake, her hand tightening around her stuffed wolf. In Jack's room, Sarah moves with purpose. Jeans, flannel shirt, jacket, all too big, but they'll do. She finds his wallet, takes enough cash for the bus, leaving the cards. I'll pay him back someday, she promises. Finally, she takes a hunting knife, sliding it into her boot. The alpha won't expect her to fight as a human. That might be her only edge. She lingers at the foot of Jack's bed, breathing in the familiar scent lingering on the sheets. It settles in her chest like armor. Goodbye, mate, she whispers. She slips out the back door just as the sky begins to lighten. Dawn is still a ways off, but she feels it coming. No time to waste. She should run in wolf form. Faster, safer, but he'll expect that. He'll have watchers in the woods. A woman on a bus might slip through. The nearest station is 5 miles away. Sarah walks quickly, keeping to the shadows. Each step takes her farther from warmth and safety, and closer to the cage, to him. On the bus, wedged between a sleeping man and a teenager with headphones, she stares out the window. Hills and forests blur past. She thinks through her options. Stealth? Impossible. His compound is too guarded. Lies? He'll smell them. Allies? Her pack might try, but they've been broken too long. Only one answer remains: challenge, confrontation. Likely death. But better that than hiding while others suffer. Better to die fighting than live on her knees. By dusk, she reaches the outskirts of his territory. She can feel it, an invisible line humming in her bones. A warning. She crosses it. The compound rises like a fortress. Stone walls around a mansion once built by her family to protect the pack. Now it's a prison. Guards patrol the perimeter, wolves in human skin. Sarah doesn't hide. She walks to the gate, head high. One guard's eyes widen. Princess? Open the gate, Sarah says. They hesitate. One reaches for his radio. The alpha needs to know. Open it, she growls, or I'll tear it down. Something in her eyes convinces them. The gate creaks open. Word spreads fast. Wolves pour out to see the ghost they thought long gone. Some look hopeful, others afraid. Most are stunned. Then the mansion doors swing open. Alistair Jenkins steps out. The alpha, her captor, her nightmare. He looks the same, tall, cold-eyed, smile slow and chilling. Seraphina, he says, my wayward princess returns. She doesn't flinch. He comes close. She smells his scent, cologne masking something darker. I knew you'd come back, he says, voice carrying. I trained you well. You know where you belong. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Familiar faces watch her, wolves who once served her parents, who stayed silent when she was locked away. She doesn't blame them. Survival demanded it. But not anymore. Alistair reaches for her arm. You shall be my mate, as was always intended. The ceremony will be tomorrow, under the full moon. Sarah steps back. I challenge you, Alistair Jenkins, she says, for the title of Alpha. Gasps erupt. The Alpha's smile fades, twisting. Don't be ridiculous, he snaps. You've forgotten your place. Perhaps a reminder. Pack law allows any wolf of age to challenge the Alpha, she cuts in. You can't refuse. She's right, says an elder from the crowd. You forget your place, old man, Alistair growls. No, the elder says. I remember it, as should you. Alistair turns back to Sarah, smile cold again. You wish to challenge me? Very well, I accept. Terror and relief clash in her chest. He's playing by the law, for now. We fight now, she says. He laughs. Eager to die? No, we fight at sunrise. He gestures toward the east, sky already paling. So be it, she replies. Sunrise. He leans in, voice low. I'm going to kill you. Everyone here knows it. Sarah thinks of Jack, of Charlie, of love, of safety, of hope. Then I'll die doing what you never could, she says, protecting my pack. His smile tightens. Take her to the guest quarters, he orders. As a guard leads her away, dozens of eyes track her every step, some hopeful, some doubtful. Maybe she thinks I've come here to die, but she'll die free. Chapter 10. A pale finger of dawn creeps across the floor of Sarah's temporary prison. She watches it advance, counting down what little time remains. Outside, voices rise as the pack gathers in the courtyard for the challenge. Sarah stands at the window, Jack's clothes hanging loose on her frame. The knife in her boot presses cold against her ankle, a reminder of her only real advantage. She'll need to shift. Wolf Law demands it, but the blade will be there when it matters. A knock. It's time, a female voice calls. Sarah turns from the window, no more fear. The courtyard is crowded. Faces she half remembers line the circle, some with pity, others with curiosity or dread. At the center stands Alistair, bare-chested, stretching like he's about to go for a run rather than face a fight to the death. Ah, there she is, he calls, amused. Our princess returned to us. Sarah walks steadily into the ring. Behind her, guards close ranks. No way out. Last chance, Seraphina. His voice drops to a silken purr. Submit, be my mate, and I'll be merciful. She says nothing, shrugs off Jack's jacket, folds it, then the flannel shirt, then the jeans. She stands bare, scarred, and unflinching. Gasps ripple through the crowd as her scars come into view, silent testimony to Alistair's training. Some elders avert their eyes. My challenge stands, she says, to the death. Alistair's smile hardens. So be it. They shift in unison, two bodies reshaping in a blur of muscle and bone. A silver-black wolf faces a larger, coal-dark one with amber eyes. Silence, a single heartbeat. Then Alistair charges. He's fast, direct, aiming to end it in a single blow. Sarah dodges at the last second. His jaws snap on empty air. She doesn't counter, not yet. You're small, Jack's voice echoes in her memory. Use that. Don't meet strength with strength. Use speed. Use space. Alistair circles, correcting. His second attack is more controlled, herding her toward the edge of the ring. Sarah slips under his lunge, grazing his leg as she passes. First blood. A murmur runs through the crowd. Alistair snarls, more angry than hurt. His third attack is brutal and sudden. He catches her shoulder, shakes her like a rag doll, and throws her across the circle. She hits the ground hard, bloody and breathless, but she stands. She must. Alistair stalks toward her, confident again. You've forgotten how this works. His voice rings in her head. I am Alpha. You will always lose. Sarah doesn't retreat. She lunges, snapping, then pulls back. She nips, feints, avoids. Again and again. She frustrates him, weakens him. But it costs her. Her wounds multiply. Her shoulder, her flank, her muzzle. Pain builds. Her body slows. Sunlight spills into the courtyard, golden and warm. A memory rises. Charlie in the shed, reading from a worn book. The little goat of Monsieur Seguin. Why would she go if she knew the wolf would eat her? Because one day of freedom was worth more than a lifetime in a cage. Alistair's teeth tear into her haunch. She stumbles, barely keeping her footing. Her back leg buckles. "You're finished?" he snarls inside her mind. "Submit and I might let you live." Sarah growls back, but her strength is failing. Her body feels heavy. Her vision swims. Charlie's voice echoes again. She fought all night. She never gave up, not even when the sun came up. "And then the wolf ate her," Sarah had said. "But she was free," Charlie had replied. "That's what mattered." Sarah understands now. She's not fighting to win. She's fighting for the moments. For one more breath. One more heartbeat of freedom, of love, of memory. Better to die standing than live on her knees. The sun crests fully above the eastern hills, its light spilling across the courtyard in a wave of gold. Sarah feels its warmth on her fur, a final caress. Her strength gone, her body failing, she allows herself to collapse to the ground. Alistair's triumphant howl splits the morning air. He approaches slowly, savoring his victory, his massive jaws dripping with her blood. The pack watches in silence as he stands over her prone form, teeth bared for the killing blow. And in the morning, Sarah thinks, the wolf ate her. Alistair lunges, his teeth sinking deep into her throat. Pain explodes through her consciousness, but with it comes a strange clarity. As his jaws tighten, as darkness begins to edge her vision, Sarah makes her final move. The shift happens in an instant, wolf becoming woman beneath Alistair's crushing bite. The sudden transformation forces his jaws open, confuses him just long enough. Sarah's human hand finds the knife in the clothing pooled beneath them. Her fingers close around the hilt, and with the last of her strength, she drives the blade upward into the soft underside of Alistair's jaw. Blood, hot and thick, cascades over her hand as she twists the knife, tearing through tissue and arteries. Alistair jerks back, a strangled sound escaping his throat as crimson pours from the wound, from his mouth, from his nose. His body convulses, wolf form giving way to human as the severity of the wound forces the shift. He collapses beside her, hands clutching uselessly at his ruined throat, eyes wide with disbelief. Sarah, soaked in blood, pushes up on shaking arms. The courtyard is silent. She meets his gaze as it fades. "I am Alpha now," she whispers. The words hang in the air, simple and irrefutable, as Alistair Jenkins, the man who murdered her parents, who held her captive, who haunted her nightmares, takes his final breath. Sarah feels consciousness slipping away. She collapses beside her enemy's body, her blood mingling with his on the stone courtyard. The last thing she sees before the darkness takes her is the sun, brilliant and golden above the mountains. Free. She is finally free. Chapter 11, Sarah. The wildflowers sway in the afternoon breeze, painting the meadow in splashes of purple and gold. Sarah stands at the edge of the field, heart pounding as she stares at the small farmhouse in the distance. It's both achingly familiar and strangely foreign, like a memory viewed through water. She never thought it would take this long to come back. When she fled months ago, she imagined two outcomes: death at Alistair's hands, or swift victory followed by a quick return to the life she'd begun with Jack and Charlie. Reality, of course, was messier. The weeks after the challenge blurred into pain and healing. Her throat wound had kept her bedbound, her voice gone for weeks. By the time she could speak again, leadership duties were already piling up, a broken pack, old feuds, fractured alliances, and years of trauma to mend. She'd done what she could, restoring order, ensuring safety, beginning the slow work of healing. But she'd always known she wasn't meant to stay. Her heart was elsewhere. Now, standing on the edge of Jack's land, doubt creeps in. What if it's too late? What if they've moved on? She takes a step forward, then another. The house looks the same. White siding, green shutters, the porch swing swaying gently. In the garden sits a small figure, cross-legged with a book. Charlie. Beside her, an orange tabby cat eyes Sarah warily as the child reads aloud and strokes its fur. Sarah stops cold. They've replaced her. Found new peace, new companions. She starts to back away. Then Charlie looks up. "Sarah?" It's a whisper carried on the wind. Sarah freezes, throat tight. "Sarah?" Charlie says louder, rising to her feet so fast the cat bolts. "Sarah!" They run. Charlie's arms outstretched, Sarah moving as if pulled. They meet in the field, Charlie crashing into her with enough force to nearly knock them over. "I thought you were never coming back." Sarah holds her tight, breathing in the scent of strawberry shampoo and sunshine. "I'm sorry it took so long," she whispers. "But I'm free now. Like in your stories." Charlie pulls back, eyes red but shining. "What happened? Did you fight the bad man?" "Yes," Sarah says, "and I won, all thanks to you." "Me?" Charlie blinks. "But I didn't do anything." Sarah smiles. "Your kindness, your stories. They showed me how to be brave. I was so scared you wouldn't come back," Charlie whispers. "I'll always come back to you," Sarah promises. "Always." "I love you, Sarah," Charlie whispers. "I love you too, pup." Charlie wipes her eyes, suddenly serious. "I didn't tell Uncle Jack anything about you being human." Sarah's heart lurches. "Where is he?" "At work. He's been looking everywhere. Police, animal control, the woods." Guilt twists in Sarah's chest. "He missed me?" Charlie gives her a look like it's obvious. "He's super sad all the time. He doesn't think I notice, but I do. I think you were right about mates. He's heartbroken." The word sends a flutter through Sarah. "When will he be home?" "Soon," Charlie says, taking her hand. "Come inside. You can surprise him." As Charlie chatters, Sarah lets herself be led forward, each step like reclaiming a piece of herself. The part that knows peace, safety, and love. She glances at the driveway. Jack will be home soon.
Epilogue, Jack. The stack of papers on Jack's desk hasn't shrunk in hours. The station is nearly empty, most of his deputies having clocked out for the day. He should have left by now, too, had planned to distribute more flyers of Sarah in the next town over. It's been months since she disappeared, and he still wakes up reaching for her. The search parties had found nothing. Animal control had no reports of a massive silver-black wolf. It was as if she'd simply vanished. Charlie had been inconsolable for weeks. Jack hadn't been much better, though he'd tried to hide it for her sake. He glances at his watch and sighs. Too late for the flyers now. Charlie will be worried if he's not home soon. He's about to pack up when a knock sounds at his door. Margaret, the station receptionist, pokes her head in. "Sheriff, there's someone at the front desk who wants to see you." Jack pinches the bridge of his nose. "Can't they come back tomorrow?" Margaret gives him a look that could wither plants. "I did tell her you'd be in a mood," she says dryly, but she insisted. Jack sighs, pushing back from his desk. He follows Margaret out to the main area, noticing immediately that several of his deputies are still hanging around the entrance desk. "What are they doing?" he asks, confused. "Staring," Margaret replies in a flat tone. "At what?" Jack frowns. "The girl who's here to see you." Jack briefly wonders if some celebrity tourist has wandered into his station. Just what he needs, dealing with some famous person's minor complaint when all he wants is to get home to Charlie. Gibbons notices him approaching and steps aside, revealing the visitor waiting at the desk. Jack's steps falter for a heartbeat. She might indeed be a celebrity. She has the looks for it. Long legs, perfect creamy skin, and wide doe-like eyes that fall on Jack and widen briefly in what looks like recognition. Those eyes, there's something about them. "Can I help you, miss?" he asks, aiming for professional politeness despite his exhaustion. The woman just stares at him, her expression almost reverent. "Sheriff, is she your girlfriend?" Chen calls from across the room, breaking the strange tension. "What?" Jack replies with a frown. Hopefully she is, and he'll get over his pet girlfriend. Margaret mutters, just loud enough for Jack to hear. Jack sighs, shooting Margaret a warning look. The station's concern about his obsessive search for Sarah has been a poorly concealed topic of gossip for weeks. "Come this way, please," he tells the woman, gesturing toward his office. She follows him with an almost bashful expression that Jack can't make sense of. Maybe she's embarrassed at being stared at by his unprofessional colleagues. "Sorry about the wait," he says as they enter his office. "Please, sit." "Oh," she says, barely a word, before hurrying to the chair across from his desk. "Yes, okay." She looks nervous, stealing glances at him and biting her lip. "So, why are you here?" Jack asks, settling in his chair. The woman looks at him in surprise. "To see you," she replies, as if this should be obvious. Jack clears his throat. "Yes, of course. So tell me what happened." She looks startled, a blush rising to her cheeks. "I'm sorry? Why are you here? How can I help you?" Jack takes out a notepad and pen. "I'll be taking your report." The woman stares at him, those striking amber eyes unblinking. Jack's never seen eyes quite that shade before, a warm gold color that seems almost to glow in the office's fluorescent lighting. But she remains silent, like a deer caught in headlights. "Is everything okay?" Jack asks, wondering if perhaps she's been in an accident or is in some kind of shock. "I came to see you," she repeats, her voice soft but insistent. Jack frowns, thoroughly confused now. The woman seems to remember something then, searching through her bag to produce a small container, which she places on his desk. "I made you food," she says, looking hopeful. "It's not very good, but "You really didn't have to do that," Jack interrupts, feeling increasingly uneasy. The woman's expression crumples, as if he's physically struck her. Jack mentally shifts gears, wondering if she might be a trauma victim looking for sympathy. "Look, why don't you start by giving me your name?" he says gently, pen poised over the notepad. The woman perks up. "Serafina Isadora Rhiannon," she says clearly, then adds, "But you can call me Sarah." Jack's pen freezes above the paper. "Is this a joke?" he asks, voice suddenly tight. "Excuse me?" the woman replies, looking pained. Jack shakes his head, ashamed of his suspicion. "It's just a stupid coincidence, that's all. No one would bother hiring a model to torment him about his missing wolf." "Sorry," he mumbles. "Someone I know is missing and that was her name." The woman's face brightens with hope. "Yes," she says eagerly, "but I'm back now." Jack goes very still. "Back?" he asks carefully. He's certain he's never seen this woman before. He would remember if he had. She's stunningly beautiful in an almost otherworldly way. "Look, miss," he attempts. "I think perhaps you've got the wrong person here. You seem like you're a little confused." "I'm not confused," she protests, rising from her chair. She walks around the desk to stand beside him. From this angle, her eyes seem to catch the light differently, almost luminous, exactly like... "You really don't recognize me, do you?" she asks softly. Jack frowns, though something nags at the back of his mind, a strange sense of déjà vu he can't quite place. The woman, Sarah, takes a deep breath, straightening her posture. "Okay then," she says, her voice taking on a new determination. "Then would you like to go on a date with me?" "What?" Jack blinks. "A date," she repeats, "tonight." "Look," he says, pinching the bridge of his nose. "This is all very flattering, but—" "So say yes," the woman interrupts, leaning closer. "One drink." Jack hesitates. The rational part of his brain is screaming that this woman is either confused or playing some elaborate prank. But there's something about her, something in those amber eyes, something in the way she holds herself, something in her scent that's oddly familiar. "Do I know you?" he asks again, searching her face. She smiles then, a slow, confident curve of her lips that sends an unexpected warmth through his chest. "You will," she promises, her voice soft but certain. "You will."
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the story, there's a bonus epilogue waiting for you on my Patreon. And hey, I'm going crazy trying to come up with good names for my heroes lately. Seriously, I'm out of ideas. If you've got any favorite guy names, please drop them in the comments. I'd love your help.